Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hello everybody, my name is Scott White and I'm back. Previously I talked about Mega Man X and here I'm back to talk about yet another game I absolutely adore. You may recognize me from my RPG podcast, RPG University, or you might find me on Twitter at SolidSnake120. But here we go. Let's talk about some Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Flippin' Solid. What a genre-defining, really entire medium-defining experience. Releasing September 3rd of 1998, it's hard to picture the games industry, video games in general, being how they are today, if it hadn't been for this Hideo Kojima masterpiece. It's my opinion that not only is this game fantastic and legendary in its own right, but I think it is a clear marker of when games started becoming more cinematic. I think Metal Gear Solid, you can clearly tell games that came before and games that came after Metal Gear Solid. I absolutely love this game. There's a reason why my online moniker and screen name for years on pretty much every platform has been an homage to this series, specifically coming from this game, as this was my first experience with the Metal Gear franchise. There's so much magic here, from the art from Yoji Shinkawa. When you think Metal Gear Solid nowadays, you think of his art, to the mind-blowingly epic voice cast. David Hayter, Cam Clark, Jennifer Hale, Paul Eading. The list goes on. It's just such an amazing game. Now, it also is a game that made, in hindsight, a relatively, it's a Hideo Kojima game, an outlandish and bombastic narrative of two genetic twins and clones of a super soldier fighting over a giant nuclear robot that shoots missiles while befriending a cybernetic ninja assassin and befriending an otaku scientist to save the world. It's very Hideo Kojima, but that's what we love about it. That's what makes it so memorable. Fighting all the members of Foxhound, Vulcan Raven, Sniper Wolf, Decoy Octopus even, Revolver, the first appearance of Revolver Ocelot. It's hard to pick just one aspect that's my favorite of Metal Gear Solid, this first game. I remember fondly, I didn't have a PlayStation until late in the cycle, maybe half a year before the PlayStation 2 came out, when I found a PlayStation used at a local garage sale just down the street from me, where I picked up the used PlayStation and a copy of Wild Arms. Those were my first games, but I remember vividly playing Metal Gear Solid at my friend's house that lived a couple doors down. That's where I got my first taste. The elevator scene in the beginning of the game, having to sneak around, knock on doors, throw chaff grenades, and choke guards to pass through. The codec scenes with all the wonderful voice dialogue. At the time, back in 1998, the quality of this voice acting and the sheer amount of voice acting in this game was monumentous. It was something that just really wasn't done. And it's things like this, that the codec calls, the voice acting, the scenes, the movies that play, the cinematic cutscenes. It was all these aspects that really elevated and made it feel like this was a cinematic experience just as much as a video game one. And now, this is nothing to say of the more ridiculous, mind-blowing aspects of it. From having to look on the back of the box to find Meryl's codec number. I remember the first time I really played this game on my own, I had to get my parents to drive me back up to the video store so that I could look on the back of the box just to get Meryl's codec number. I remember I had tried calling my friend. It was during the summertime, but he didn't pick up because he and his family were in their pool, and I just had to keep playing. And of course, there's Psycho Mantis that could read your memory cards and having to swap controller ports. It's even today, studios really haven't done anything like that. There's been nods, for being such a legendary and well-regarded feature or fixture moment of video game history, it's surprising how few studios attempted to jump on that bandwagon of those meta-narratives and those nods. The original will always strike a chord, and I'm also a huge fan of Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes that released on GameCube. I absolutely love that game as well, with the more crazy and outlandish cinematics, specifically. The new camera angle, adopting many of the gameplay features such as holding up enemies from Metal Gear Solid 2. But there's something special. The clicky sounds and the UI of the menus. The beautiful design. Still to this day, I find Metal Gear Solid 1's Solid Snake to have the best sneaking outfit out of the entire series. I love that look with him standing there with his SOCOM pistol. Now, there are parts that I wasn't a huge fan of, specifically the shape memory alloy part, and running back to the furnace area and then the cold area where you fought Vulcan Raven the second time. Never been a huge fan of that part, but in the overall experience of the game, just a drop in the bucket. The idea that this game also had branching alternate endings that would unlock different special goods that you could carry over. The bandana for unlimited ammo, or the stealth camouflage that turned you invisible. It made you think. And of course, the torture sequence, the dealing with Emerald when she got shot by Sniper Wolf. Having to use Sniper Wolf's handkerchief to get the wolves to like you and let you pass. There were so many creative solutions to problems that were presented that you really had to think about how you were going to progress. And a lot of it, take it for granted now, but even back then, there was no YouTube. Yeah, you had game forums still around at that point. You had game FAQs or game facts, and probably GameSpy, and others were around, but at the same time, they weren't as prevalent, I would say. But man, this is one of those games. Metal Gear Solid is one of those games where I would give a lot to just kind of wipe my memory from playing this game. To be able to go back and experience it for the first time. To enjoy, to see finding out about Sniper Wolf's history. To hear the "Do you think love can bloom on a battlefield" speech again from Otacon. It's magical. It's a great game. And the video game landscape was never the same afterwards. Metal Gear Solid is that game. Man. I guess now I gotta go play it. And maybe you should too. Happy gaming.
Hey.
Oh, hey, Jeff.
What's going on, guys?
Oh, talking about Superman.
Oh, cool. I could talk about Superman.
I could talk some more about Superman.
We know.
I'll bet a few people would want to get in on this.
I'm down.
You know it.
That sounds like fun. I'll do it.
Cool, let's do it. We can call the show Men of Steel.
And you can find it at certainpov.com.
Or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yay.
CPOV.
Certainpov.com.